Hey guys, Alex Sutherland here, and today I'm bringing you part 3 of my series on multi-street GTO theory and practice. And we've got some really good stuff for you guys today. The first two parts were kind of theory focused, and the last two will be kind of practical focused. And specifically, in a practical side, what we're looking at today is going to be out of position turn play on wet boards. Now, while this video will be practically focused, what I'm really trying to do in this series and in this video is teach you guys how I like to try and bridge the gap between theory and practice. So what we're going to be looking at today is actually how we can take that model draw balancing game that we looked at in part 2. And if you didn't watch part 2, I highly, highly recommend that you go back, watch that, come back and then watch this afterwards. You'll get a lot more out of this video. In part 2, we looked at a model multi-street draw balancing game where one player had a range with nuts, medium strength hands that are, flush draws and straight draws against an opponent who had a made hand that would beat any unimproved draw and lose the nuts. And we worked out, GTO play in this model. We looked at the solution. And what I'd like to do today is look at our model, think about its results, and make some testable predictions about how we think that's going to relate to a real-world situation we're going to look at, where we're out of position on the turn in a 3-bet pot button versus blind. And our goal is that we should either be able to, make some testable predictions, then look at a computational solution to that situation and see which of our predictions hold up, which ones don't, and hopefully start to develop some ideas about what strong play looks like in these very complicated real-world situations. Now, the scenario we're going to look at is, pretty simple spot, 6 max button versus big blind. It's a 3-bet pot with 100 chip effective stacks. And we're going to imagine the board came kind of, medium cards, quite draw heavy, jack suited, or jack spades, 9 spades, 6 diamonds. And when this kind of board rolls off after you've 3-bet and gotten called, exactly which cards various people 3-bet varies, even among high-stakes players, there's not really agreement on exactly what the right 3-betting range from the blinds is. And so depending on the exact, nature of your 3-betting range, the kind of distribution of hand strengths can be reasonably different between the two players. But usually this is a range where, the blind player is going to have more hands that are kind of at the stronger end of medium strength. So like aces is very strong but not nutty on this board. And a hand like aces, kings, or queens is not going to be in the buttons range. Usually jacks wouldn't be either. Whereas the button is going to have more hands that kind of smack this board with pair plus draw, gut shots, straight draws. He's going to have this huge assortment of draws as well as, pocket sixes, 2 pairs, that kind of stuff. So we'll end up in a situation that's a little different than our model game in terms of ranges, but also somewhat similar, and especially if another medium card rolls off on the turn, that'll put us even more into this spot that, as we'll see, in reasonably important ways resembles our model game. So we're going to be looking at a situation where the BBC bet the flop and got called, so it's going to, not be a checked flop. I think the ranges are a little simpler to think about and look at and understand in the c-bet case. And we're just going to be looking at how do we play the turn. What should, from both players' perspectives. So as the out of position player, should we be barreling on this turn a lot, or should we mostly be checking? What hand should we be barreling with? For the in-position player, if we get barreled at, what is our response? Are we, raising a lot? Are we never raising? Are we mostly just calling? Which hands are we calling with? Which ones are we folding? All those types of questions. We're going to try and look at our model, make testable predictions about what we think our model says we should do, and then confirm or refute them by looking at a computational solution to the situation. And as we do this again, our goal is really to understand how we can scientifically go about the process of bridging the gap between theory and practice.